The first tremors weren't physical, they were digital. Every satellite orbiting Earth simultaneously flickered, creating a split-second global communications blackout. Dr. Amara Patel stared at her quantum interference readings at the SETI facility in New Mexico, her dark eyes reflecting the erratic patterns on her holographic display. Something had just rippled through Earth's atmosphere, something that defied every known law of physics. "Director Matthews, you need to see this," she called out, her fingers flying across the haptic interface. The atmospheric disturbance patterns resembled nothing in their database, yet they were appearing with increasing frequency worldwide. The facility's director, a veteran scientist with silver-streaked hair, leaned over her shoulder. "These readings, they're impossible. The energy signatures suggest physical mass, but there's nothing visible on any spectrum." Before Dr. Patel could respond, the facility's emergency sirens blared. Outside, the clear desert sky darkened as if a massive object was blocking the sun, yet satellite imagery showed nothing but clear skies. The first reports of destruction began flooding in from major cities across the globe. Colonel James Harrison stood in the Pentagon's Strategic Command Center, watching as red dots appeared across the global threat monitor. Tokyo reported entire buildings crumbling without apparent cause. In London, invisible forces were tearing through infrastructure like tissue paper. The pattern was clear. Earth was under attack by an enemy they couldn't see. "Get me Dr. Patel from SAETI." Harrison barked into his secure comm link. Within moments, her face appeared on his screen, her usually composed features tight with concern. "Doctor, please tell me you have something. Anything we can use to fight what we can't see." Amara's response was measured but urgent. "Colonel, we've detected a pattern in the quantum interference. These entities, whatever they are, they're bending light around themselves. It's not just invisibility. They're manipulating the fundamental forces of physics." The next 48 hours became a blur of global coordination and scientific breakthrough attempts. Dr. Patel's team worked tirelessly, developing prototype sensors that could detect the quantum disturbances the invisible entities created. Meanwhile, Colonel Harrison mobilized international defense forces, coordinating blind defensive measures against an enemy that seemed to appear and disappear at will. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. During an attack on the SETI facility, Dr. Patel noticed that the quantum interference patterns change when exposed to specific frequencies of electromagnetic radiation. The aliens weren't completely invisible. They were just operating on a spectrum of reality humans hadn't been able to perceive. "It's like they exist slightly out of phase with our dimension," she explained to Colonel Harrison during an emergency video conference. "But they have to interact with our physical world to affect it. That interaction creates a ripple effect we can detect and potentially exploit." Working with military engineers, Dr. Patel developed the first crude detection system, a network of quantum sensors that could track the aliens' movements. The images they produced were blurry and unstable, but they provided humanity's first glimpse of their attackers. Massive, crystalline structures that seemed to float through the air like ethereal jellyfish. The detection system revealed a terrifying truth. Thousands of these beings had already positioned themselves above every major city on Earth. They weren't just beginning their invasion. They had already infiltrated human civilization on a massive scale. Colonel Harrison coordinated with international military commands to establish the first effective defensive protocols. "We need to keep this information compartmentalized," he insisted during a secure briefing with world leaders. "If these beings realize we can detect them, we lose our only advantage." Dr. Patel disagreed. "The public deserves to know what we're facing. Fear of the unknown is more dangerous than the truth." Their debate was cut short by a new development. The invisible aliens have begun constructing massive structures in the upper atmosphere. Structures that only their detection system could see. As the first part of humanity's encounter with these invisible invaders drew to a close, Dr. Patel made another stunning discovery. The quantum interference patterns weren't random. They contained complex mathematical sequences that suggested attempted communication. "They're not just attacking us," she revealed to Colonel Harrison in a private meeting. "They're trying to tell us something. The destruction might not be their primary purpose. It could be a side effect of their attempt to bridge our different planes of existence." The colonel studied the patterns on her screen, his military training warring with scientific curiosity. "Can you decode it?" "I'm trying," she replied, her eyes fixed on the shifting patterns. "But we need more time. And time is the one thing these beings might not give us." As night fell over the SETI facility, new quantum signatures appeared in the atmosphere above. Whatever message these invisible aliens were trying to deliver, humanity's response in the next few hours would determine Earth's fate. The question wasn't just how to defend against an invisible enemy. It was whether they should be fighting at all. The underground bunker beneath the Pentagon hummed with activity as Colonel Harrison studied the latest global defense readiness reports. The detection grid Dr. Patel had developed now covered most major population centers, revealing an increasingly complex network of alien structures invisible to the naked eye. "They're building something," Lieutenant Grace Wong reported, her fingers tracing the holographic representation of New York's skyline. The quantum imaging showed massive crystalline frameworks interweaving between skyscrapers, their purpose unknown. Similar constructions have appeared in Shanghai, Moscow, and Cairo. The breakthrough in understanding their invisible adversaries came from an unexpected source. Dr. Patel's team had been analyzing the mathematical sequences in the quantum interference patterns when they discovered something remarkable. The aliens were using mathematics to manipulate reality itself. "They're not just bending light," Dr. Patel explained during an emergency briefing with global defense leaders. "They're bending the fabric of space-time. That's why our conventional weapons pass right through them. They exist partially in another dimension." The revelation led to the development of new defensive technologies. By reverse engineering the mathematical principles the aliens used, Earth's scientists created the first effective countermeasures. Quantum field generators could now create zones where the aliens were forced to fully manifest in our dimension. The first successful test came during an attack on Berlin. As invisible forces began tearing through the city's eastern quarter, military forces deployed the quantum field generators. The effect was immediate and stunning. The aliens became visible, their true forms finally revealed to human eyes. They were beautiful and terrifying. Crystalline beings that seemed to be made of living light, their bodies constantly shifting between states of matter. Each one was roughly the size of a small building, with intricate patterns of energy flowing through their translucent forms. "Record everything," Colonel Harrison ordered as footage from Berlin streamed into the command center. "This is our first real look at what we're dealing with." Dr. Patel's team worked frantically to analyze the data. The aliens' physical structure defied conventional biology, suggesting an evolution so advanced it appeared magical to human understanding. But their technology, their methods of communication, all of it followed mathematical principles that could be understood and replicated. "They're not just trying to communicate," Dr. Patel announced one evening, her voice trembling with excitement. "They're trying to teach us. These mathematical sequences, they're like a primer, a basic lesson in their physics." But not everyone was convinced of peaceful intentions. Reports of destruction continued worldwide. Though patterns began to emerge, the aliens seemed to focus their attacks on specific types of infrastructure: power plants, telecommunications centers, and scientific research facilities. Lieutenant Wong discovered another pattern in their behavior. "They're not attacking residential areas anymore," she noted, comparing incident reports. "It's like they're actively avoiding civilian casualties now that they know we can see them." The quantum field generators had another unexpected effect. They revealed that the massive structures being built above cities were far more complex than initially thought. They weren't weapons or invasion platforms, but enormous machines that appeared to be measuring and analyzing Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and electromagnetic field. Dr. Patel spent countless hours studying the mathematical communications, working with linguists and cryptographers to decode their meaning. It's like they're speaking in pure physics, she explained to Colonel Harrison. Each sequence contains information about their technology, their capabilities, and possibly their intentions. A breakthrough came when they managed to translate one repeated sequence. The message was simple but profound. Correction imminent. Correction of what? Colonel Harrison demanded, but before anyone could theorize, every quantum detector on Earth registered a massive surge in alien activity. They're arranging themselves in a grid pattern around the planet. Dr. Patel burst into the command center, her tablet displaying new mathematical sequences. Colonel, I've decoded more of their message. They're not just trying to communicate. They're trying to warn us. As the world's military forces stood ready, Dr. Patel's translation revealed a truth more startling than anyone had imagined. The invisible aliens hadn't come to invade. They had come to save humanity from a threat they couldn't even perceive, a danger woven into the very fabric of reality itself. The question was no longer how to defend against these beings, but whether to trust them. As the massive alien grid continued to form above Earth, humanity stood at a crossroads. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of human civilization, but possibly the very nature of reality as they understood it. In the Pentagon's command center, Colonel Harrison made a decision that would echo through history. Dr. Patel, he said, his voice firm, send them a message. Tell them we're ready to listen. The pristine halls of the newly established Quantum Communications Center in Geneva buzzed with activity as Dr. Patel and her international team worked to establish meaningful dialogue with the crystalline beings. The mathematical language they shared had evolved from simple equations to complex theoretical models that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. They're showing us something about the structure of space-time itself, Dr. Patel explained to the United Nations Security Council, her holographic presence flickering in conference rooms worldwide. According to their calculations, our universe is experiencing a form of dimensional decay. The alien grid above Earth had become a permanent fixture, visible only through the quantum imaging arrays. Lieutenant Wang's analysis revealed that the structure was more than just a communication network. It was a vast detection system, monitoring something that existed beyond human perception. Think of it like an immune system, Dr. Patel suggested. They're detecting and responding to threats in the fabric of reality itself. The first true breakthrough in human-alien cooperation came when Colonel Harrison made a bold proposal. Instead of merely receiving the aliens' mathematical teachings, humanity would share its own understanding of quantum mechanics and particle physics. The exchange led to an unexpected discovery. Humans and the crystalline beings complemented each other's knowledge in ways neither species had anticipated. Their understanding of higher dimensions is vastly superior to ours. Dr. Patel noted during a joint session with alien representatives, their presence manifested through quantum field generators. But our grasp of particle physics and material science offers them new tools they hadn't considered. The collaboration bore fruit in the form of new technology, hybrid devices that combined human engineering with alien mathematical principles. The first major project was a network of reality anchors, machines designed to stabilize the dimensional integrity of Earth's local spacetime. But the implementation of these devices revealed a disturbing truth. The dimensional decay the aliens had detected was accelerating, creating invisible rifts in the fabric of reality. These rifts threatened to tear apart not just Earth, but the entire solar system. The destruction we initially interpreted as attacks, Lieutenant Wang realized, reviewing early incident reports, was actually the aliens attempting to seal these rifts before they expanded. Colonel Harrison coordinated a global response, working with military forces worldwide to protect the reality anchor installation sites. The aliens, now visible through widespread quantum field coverage, worked alongside human engineers, their crystalline forms casting prismatic light across construction zones. Dr. Patel's team made another crucial discovery while studying the mathematical communications. The dimensional decay isn't natural, she announced during an emergency session with world leaders. Something is causing it. something that exists in the spaces between dimensions. The aliens confirmed her theory, sharing complex mathematical models that depicted entities even they couldn't fully perceive. These beings, existing in dimensions beyond both human and crystalline alien understanding, were systematically breaking down the barriers between realities. They're not just threatening Earth, Dr. Paddle explained, her voice grave. They're threatening the fundamental structure of our universe. The crystalline beings have been fighting them across multiple dimensions, multiple realities, for what could be millions of years. The revelation sparked a new phase in human-alien cooperation. While the reality anchors could temporarily stabilize Earth's local space-time, a more permanent solution required technology beyond anything either species had developed alone. Lieutenant Wong proposed combining human particle accelerator technology with alien dimensional mathematics. If we can create a device that affects multiple dimensions simultaneously, she suggested, we might be able to repair the damage to our reality. The project, dubbed Operation Reality Lock, became the largest collaborative effort in human history. Research facilities worldwide worked around the clock, combining advanced particle physics with alien mathematical principles to create something entirely new. As construction began on the massive particle accelerator rings that would encircle strategic points around the globe, Dr. Patel made one final breakthrough in understanding the mathematical communications. The crystalline beings hadn't chosen Earth randomly. Humanity possessed something unique, something essential to the fight against the dimensional entities. It's our perspective, she realized. Our limited dimensional awareness, combined with our particular approach to physics and mathematics, allows us to see patterns the crystalline beings can't perceive. We're not just allies in this fight. We're essential to winning it. Colonel Harrison stood in the central control facility of the first completed Reality Lock installation, watching as human technicians worked alongside crystalline aliens to calibrate the massive machine. The air hummed with energy as conventional particle accelerator technology merged with alien mathematical principles, creating fields of stable reality that extended into dimensions humans couldn't perceive. We're ready for the first full power test, Lieutenant Wong reported, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. All sites worldwide report synchronized and ready. As humanity prepared to take its first real strike against the dimensional decay threatening their universe, Dr. Patel shared one last translation from their alien allies. Together, we become something new. The future of both species, and perhaps all of reality, would depend on what that something new would be. The Reality Lock facilities pulsed with energy as the combined human-alien technology created stable zones in space-time. Dr. Patel monitored the quantum readings from the central control hub in Geneva, watching as the dimensional barriers strengthened around Earth. But something wasn't right. The decay patterns are changing, she announced, drawing Colonel Harrison's attention to the holographic display. They're becoming organized. Lieutenant Wong's sensors detected it first. The dimensional entities were responding to humanity's defenses. What had once seemed like random decay now showed signs of intelligence, of purpose. The rifts in reality weren't just expanding. They were evolving. They know we can fight back now, Dr. Ryota Tanaka, the lead physicist at the Tokyo Reality Lock facility, reported. His discovery sent shockwaves through the human-alien alliance. The dimensional entities weren't mindless forces of destruction. They were conscious beings with their own agenda. The crystalline aliens shared new mathematical sequences, more complex than anything they'd revealed before. Their message was clear. The entities weren't trying to destroy reality. They were trying to reshape it. Every universe they'd consumed had been converted into something else, something that defied both human and alien understanding. Colonel Harrison coordinated with military commands worldwide as the first organized attack came. Reality itself seemed to buckle and twist around the Reality Lock facilities. The dimensional entities had revealed themselves as vast, geometric impossibilities that hurt the human mind to perceive. The quantum field generators are failing, Lieutenant Wang reported as the attacks intensified. "We're losing our ability to see both our allies and our enemies." But Dr. Patel had been preparing for this moment. Working with the crystalline aliens, she had developed a new form of quantum consciousness, a way for human minds to process and understand higher dimensional space. The procedure was dangerous, experimental, and would permanently alter anyone who underwent it. "I'll do it," she volunteered, despite Colonel Harrison's objections. "We need someone who can perceive both sides of this war." The transformation process took place in a specially constructed chamber within the Geneva facility. The crystalline aliens used their mathematical principles to alter the very fabric of Dr. Patel's consciousness, expanding her perception beyond normal human limits. When she emerged, she saw everything differently. The crystalline aliens weren't just visible to her. She could see the complex mathematical patterns that made up their very being. And the dimensional entities, she finally understood what they truly were. "They're not destroying reality," she explained, her voice carrying new harmonics that made the air vibrate strangely. "They're gathering it. Every universe they consume becomes part of a larger pattern, a vast computational array spanning multiple dimensions." But this revelation came with a price. Among the crystalline aliens, a faction emerged that believed cooperation with humanity was a mistake. These dissenters saw an opportunity in the dimensional entity's plan, a chance to evolve beyond their current form of existence. The betrayal came suddenly. Several crystalline aliens turned their mathematical powers against the reality lock facilities, creating gaps in Earth's defenses. The dimensional entities immediately began pouring through these breaches, their impossible geometries warping the world around them. Lieutenant Wang coordinated the emergency response, using the remaining reality lock facilities to create safe zones where normal physics still applied. Meanwhile, Dr. Tanaka worked frantically to adapt the quantum field generators to function under the new conditions. Colonel Harrison faced a difficult choice: trust in the remaining loyal crystalline aliens, or fall back on purely human methods of defense. The decision was made more complex by Dr. Patel's transformation. She now straddled both worlds, understanding both sides of the conflict in ways no other human could. "The dimensional entities aren't just gathering reality," she revealed during a crisis meeting. "They're building something. Every universe they convert becomes part of a vast, multi-dimensional computer. And now they want to add our reality to their calculation." But her enhanced perception had revealed something else, a flaw in the entity's grand design. The very complexity that made their plan possible also made it vulnerable. Human mathematical approaches, different from both the crystalline aliens and the dimensional entities, might hold the key to disrupting their entire network. As reality continued to warp around them, Dr. Patel began working on a new type of weapon, one that would use humanity's unique perspective to target the fundamental mathematics that the dimensional entities use to convert universes. "We don't need to defeat them directly," she explained to Colonel Harrison, her altered voice resonating with multiple harmonics. "We just need to introduce an error into their calculations. A human error." The loyal crystalline aliens recognized the potential in this plan, but warned that such a disruption could have consequences beyond their ability to predict. The very nature of reality across multiple dimensions would be affected. As the fourth phase of Earth's struggle drew to a close, humanity stood at another crossroads. Dr. Patel's plan offered hope, but at an unknown cost. The dimensional entities continued their advance, converting more of reality with each passing moment. And somewhere in the higher dimensions, the betrayer aliens were pursuing their own mysterious agenda. The question was no longer just about saving Earth, or even their universe. It was about the fundamental nature of reality itself, and humanity's role in its preservation or transformation. The Geneva facility's warning systems screamed as reality itself began to unravel. Through her enhanced perception, Dr. Patel watched geometric impossibilities bloom across multiple dimensions, each one representing another piece of their universe being converted into the entity's vast computational matrix. "The weapon is ready," she announced to Colonel Harrison, her transformed voice carrying harmonics that made the air shimmer. The device before them looked deceptively simple, a sphere of crystalline materials grown using human manufacturing techniques, inscribed with mathematical formulas that combined human calculus with alien dimensional physics. Lieutenant Wong's global defense grid showed the dimensional entity's advance accelerating. "We're losing major population centers in Asia and South America," she reported. "The reality lock facilities are failing faster than we can repair them." Dr. Tanaka's voice crackled over the quantum communication network from what remained of the Tokyo facility. "The betrayer aliens are using our own reality lock technology to accelerate the conversion process. We've lost contact with everything east of New Delhi." But Dr. Patel had anticipated this. Her transformed consciousness could see patterns within patterns, the deep mathematical structures that underpinned all of reality. The weapon she designed didn't target the dimensional entities directly. It targeted the fundamental calculations that made their conversion process possible. "Think of it like introducing a divide by zero error into their universal computer," she explained to the assembled human and crystalline alien leaders. "But instead of crashing a program, it will create a cascade of mathematical impossibilities throughout their network." Colonel Harrison studied the weapon with both military pragmatism and human concern. "What's the catch?" he asked, knowing there had to be one. "Once we introduce this error, we don't know how reality will reconstruct itself," Dr. Patel admitted. "We'll be forcing every converted universe in their network to recalculate its fundamental constants. The laws of physics themselves might change." The loyal crystalline aliens shared complex mathematical sequences that confirmed her theory. Their calculations suggested that while the weapon would indeed disrupt the entity's conversion process, it would also force a universal reboot across multiple dimensions. As they prepared for humanity's final stand, the dimensional entities launched their most devastating attack yet. Reality began to fold in on itself, converting matter and energy into pure mathematical constructs. The betrayer aliens led the assault, their crystalline forms now twisted into impossible geometries. "We need to synchronize the weapon's activation with the remaining reality lock facilities," Lieutenant Wong advised, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Create a protected bubble of normal space around Earth while everything recalculates." Dr. Tanaka, working with the loyal crystalline aliens, developed a shielding formula that might protect Earth during the universal reconstruction. "It's based on human wave physics," he explained. "Simple enough to remain stable when the complex mathematics start to break down." The moment of truth arrived as the dimensional entities breached the last major reality lock facility in North America. Dr. Patel, her consciousness spanning multiple dimensions, could see the entity's vast computational network stretching across converted universes like a web of pure mathematics. "Now," she commanded, and Lieutenant Wong activated the weapon. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Dr. Patel saw it, a tiny flaw in the entity's calculations, a human error propagating through their network at the speed of mathematical truth. The effect cascaded outward, causing impossible equations to resolve themselves in impossible ways. Reality shuddered. The dimensional entities, their very existence dependent on mathematical precision, began to unravel. The betrayer aliens screamed in frequencies that existed in multiple dimensions as their converted forms collapsed. Through her enhanced perception, Dr. Patel watched universes reconstruct themselves, fundamental constants shifting as reality sought new, stable configurations. The crystalline aliens worked frantically with human scientists to maintain the shield around Earth, protecting their small bubble of space from the universal recalculation. When the chaos finally subsided, the dimensional entities were gone. Their vast computational network collapsed by a single human mathematical error. The surviving crystalline aliens shared new sequences, expressing both relief and awe at humanity's unique solution. Dr. Patel, her consciousness forever altered, became humanity's primary interpreter of the new mathematical principles that governed the reconstructed reality. The loyal crystalline aliens remained as allies and teachers, helping humanity understand their expanded role in a much larger and more complex universe. Colonel Harrison stood with Lieutenant Wong and Dr. Tanaka at the restored Geneva facility, watching Dr. Petal communicate with their alien allies through pure mathematics. "We saved reality," he mused, "by breaking it in exactly the right way." "Not breaking it," Dr. Petal corrected, her transformed voice carrying the harmonics of multiple dimensions. "Evolving it. Humanity proved that sometimes the simplest solutions, even errors, can solve the most complex problems." The crystalline aliens shared one final mathematical sequence, which Dr. Petal translated with a smile. Earth began its recovery, changed but unbroken. The reality lock facilities were converted into research centers, where humans and crystalline aliens worked together to explore their new multidimensional existence. The threat of the dimensional entities was gone, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. In the end, it wasn't superior technology or advanced mathematics that saved reality. It was humanity's unique perspective, their ability to find elegant solutions in complexity, and their willingness to risk everything to protect not just their world, but all of existence. The invisible aliens who had once seemed like invaders had become humanity's closest allies, and together they faced a future where the boundaries between dimensions were no longer barriers, but bridges to endless possibilities.